Have you heard Beyonce's new song? Beyonce and Travis Scott? Del Resto? Echoes? It's really good. It's incredible, actually. I can't stop dancing to it. So hard to let go. Trying to see the summer. I don't wait for it's the echoes. Only echoes I escape for, only echoes on the return, walking on the numbers, say the night, it's the let go, the let go, the let go, the let go that I wait for, I wait for, I wait for. I'll wait for you. Oh my god, it's such a good song. Um, so I actually was coming on here because I got this thought as I saw this short on YouTube, and now I kind of want to do a reading about it. I just want to have a conversation about it, really, and just shuffle the cards because the cards are always, I just like to shuffle the cards. The Hierophant, the Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, the thought that I had as I was watching this short, let me just check in. I'll spread it, I don't know what to do this order. Oh, I was like, what the hell is she talking about? Oh, maybe I should sing this. Feeling under pressure, feel me rising low. Feelings over matter run me to the floor. Living in the physical can ground my soul. Heavens hold me over when I'm running low. I know what I'm dealing with, won't let me go. That's when I decide I gotta overthrow the fear and the grieving, it's chemical. I'm meaning more than the weight of toll. I don't remember that part. I was watching this short on YouTube, and it was about this dolphin talking to this little girl, and it was very sweet. It was a very sweet video. And then I shouldn't go to the comments anymore because the comment section is just filled with disaster, to be completely honest. It's just everybody throwing up all of their things, and some things are really great, and then some things are just like, why did you do that, you know? But people don't have a whole lot of self-control, and yeah, the comment section is where you really see people unleash their lack of self-control in terms of not having boundaries about what they share. But somebody was like, somebody said something about animals in captivity, especially if they're born into captivity, don't know any different. So there's a chance that they're happy in that state. And I'm not saying I completely agree with the fact that they could be happy, because happiness is a spectrum. But I want to combat or offer a different perspective against the idea that if you're born into captivity, you don't understand that you are in captivity and you don't know what you're missing out on. I don't agree, and I think that I understand where that perspective comes from, but I think that as we evolve as a species and as we begin to, we're all acknowledging that there's like this mass awakening happening, whether it's just a return to something that's already existed or if it's a journey into something new. Either way, there's a very present energy on the planet amongst many, many people of wanting to connect with nature, wanting to be more intentional, wanting to change your life, at the most basic, just wanting to be more mindful. But there's revolution in the air. And so I think that that means that we also need to evolve the conversations that we're having and the things that we consider norms and what we say, as if, especially when we say it as fact. When, as we begin to acknowledge that everything has a soul and that those souls have lives that have gone beyond that current life that we're living, and understanding how vast the imagination and the spirit and the mind grows, recognizing that just because you've never experienced something in your lifetime doesn't mean you don't understand that there are other things that exist, especially for non-human creatures. I think that animals born into captivity are well aware that there is a life beyond their cage. I think that animals born into zoos know that they come from something else. Not only because I think that the animals around them that were taken from those places tell them, but also because I think you feel it in your spirit. Because just because there are things that I have never experienced in this lifetime doesn't mean I don't understand that they exist. I mean, for one, your imagination is a gateway. It's not called a gateway for no reason. It's a portal to the other side. It's a portal to a world that can reflect to you the different realities that do exist. However far away and out of reach that they may seem, they do exist. Especially if you want to go with a theory that you can't think up of anything that you haven't seen before. And there are things that I think of that I've never seen in this lifetime. So where does that come from? So the idea that you don't know freedom, the freedom of an ocean, if you are a dolphin born into captivity in like marine land or something like that, I just don't agree. And I think it doesn't benefit anyone, especially not the animals, to continue that narrative. I think that it's dangerous, for one. I think it's ignorant of us, and I think that it's lazy. I think it's lazy thinking. I just think that it's the same as when people still try to argue that animals don't have spirits and that animals can't feel. It just doesn't make sense. And I think that the more you begin to question your thought process, the more you hear yourself say things like that and you're like, wait a minute, really? I just think that, and I'm not saying that from a judgmental place. I'm just, because I have these things within myself too. And I just had the thought about it and I was like, maybe we should talk about that. Because it is one of those sayings that's just like, why do we say that? It just doesn't make sense. And it's just not true. Like, you can apply that to your own life and you know it's not true. And the more so many of us are now feeling more comfortable talking about the fact that we don't think humans are above any other creature. I don't personally think that humans are smarter than other animals. I just don't believe that way. I think that we maybe think differently, and you can use capacity to measure intelligence if you want, but I don't think that we're any more intelligent. I just think that there's different forms of intelligence, and just thinking that way and kind of balancing out the field and not working from such a hierarchical thought process where humans are at the top and everything else is below. It just doesn't make sense to say that. And it also really does help justify keeping animals in captivity and carrying on these cycles. Because I'm sure that same narrative was at one point used against people in slavery. I'm sure that that's been used against people in internment camps. I'm sure that's been used against babies that were born during the Holocaust. Like any type of captivity that you can think of. I'm sure that that's been an argument that was used. So why do we say that? And I know we don't say that from a place of trying to justify, but it does just sweep over the issue. And it's like you say that and then it's like, oh, well, but it's not like that. And it's something that I think we should challenge. and question a little bit more. So I guess that's all I wanted to say, because I don't really need to do a reading about this. I think I just wanted to add that thought in, so that maybe this is just for myself, so that I don't, say things like that or engage in that way of thinking, because I just don't think it's helpful, and I don't believe it. And I wonder if people actually believe it, or if they just say it because it's just something to say, and it makes you feel better, perhaps, which I completely understand. Again, this is not coming from a judgmental place at all. It's just a thought that I had, and I was just like, that doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. And we know that. And I think it's actually more empowering to recognize that you can know something exists even if you've never felt it, and even if you've never experienced it before. Because knowing goes beyond what you can feel and you can see and you can sense. Knowing is a part of the unknown. Knowing, the feeling of knowing, or the knowing as its own experience, comes from the unknown. It comes from darkness. It's something that is elusive to us all the time until it reaches you, and then it's like, and then you're never the same. It never leaves you. But yeah, so I think it's more empowering to acknowledge that, in fact, you can know. You can know without ever having been. So just in this specific context, this is not meant to be applied to the idea that you don't need to learn anything and that you don't need to experience things because you've already experienced everything. That's not what I mean. But just when we're talking about things like captivity, let's not take that away from creatures in captivity, the idea that they don't know freedom, because I think that they do. And that's what spurs revolution. Like, think about the orcas. Like, they know something's wrong. They know something's wrong, so they have a revolution. A bunch of children who are born into enslavement, born into a system of oppression, can still rebel because they have this sense that there is something else beyond that. I'm sure that there have been cases that maybe have been kept under wraps of creatures animals organizing and rebelling because they know that there is something beyond. You have a sense. I just feel that way. And I think, like I said, I think especially in this time where we're really going through a spirit of revolution, it would be beneficial to get that mindset out, to not think that way anymore if we can. And obviously you don't need to fully adopt that, have your own beliefs, but yeah, I think so. So that's it. I was shuffling my cards to see if Spirit, I'm going to say that. I think that that's it. Yeah. Okay. So bye.